Brittany Robinson reported missing after a visitation with her father. He was later found by law enforcement in an Arkansas mental health facility without Brittany. This is Hold My Sweet Tea. Hello, I'm Pearl.
And I'm Holly. Welcome, you guys, to Hold My Sweet Tea again. My fingers hurt.
Your fingers hurt.
I made 2 balloon arches today, and I was tying off balloons, and my fingers are still sore.
Ooh.
And I got like this little balloon tying like apparatus that you put on your fingers. It still doesn't help.
No.
Does not help. So my fingers hurt.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but the balloon arches look really cool.
Yeah. So, 2 things I guess we could talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you to our listener, Andrea in Algiers, who found us on
Yes,
TikTok.
thank you, Andrea.
She sent us an email,
Woo woo.
which I finally found.
Yes.
She's like, I sent one a while back.
We're like, oops, sorry.
I had to go digging, but I found it.
Yes.
So she gave us some really cool suggestions to look into,
Yes,
and I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also got a comment on one of our older episodes on YouTube, the Mont Hiley case.
Yeah.
Someone decided that they needed to say, I don't think you're ever going to cover this case. Bored with the chit chat. Literally, there's like 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
In the front.
I mean, we got to banter. I mean, we need to talk, but yeah, we're going to get into it. But if you don't like it, you could skip forward. Like, it's not that hard.
There is a little 10-second, you can
Yeah.
go increments to get to that part. You don't have to listen to
Yeah.
it. But I'm like, I literally replied that, that's actually why a lot of people do listen to us. Because they like the little extra.
Mm-hmm.
Because they feel like they're our friends and we're all just sitting around talking about this stuff. I just told her, I appreciate that you gave us a try.
Yeah.
We know we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for the feedback. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's what I said. I appreciate, we appreciate the feedback. Sorry that you feel that way.
Yeah. But it was a really good case. So, like, if you want to give it another chance, just skip forward a little bit and
so
listen
hopefully
to
she
it.
fast forwarded and listened. But I don't know. But yeah. So there's some interaction happening anyway.
Awesome. We love that. We're still waiting for some of our Australian listeners to interact because we want to hear from you guys.
Yeah,
there's at least 2 of you.
We want we want to be able to do something in your area too.
Yeah,
so we'd love
cool.
some suggestions of something that y'all would like to hear.
Absolutely. That would be really, really cool.
So full show.
Yeah. So what are we getting into today?
We are going to talk about the disappearance of Brittany Robinson out of Mobile, Alabama. It's today. So she was last seen on June 14th, 2012, and she was 14 years old. Her mom said she's like super smiley, happy child. Like, she was one of those that would befriend anyone. Like, even though she was kind of shy, she was like very outspoken. And so like she really stood for what she believed in. Like if she was not going to be, you are not changing her mind. She's at that table with the change my mind sign.
Change my mind.
but you're probably not going to do it.
No.
But and she read a ton. She said that girl lived with her face in a book.
That's awesome.
So super smart, super funny, super sweet, very friendly 14-year-old. She was visiting her father, Demetric Hooper, for a weekend visit.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that she did really often because he wasn't really in her life like that. She really wanted him to be, but he just wasn't.
Yeah.
So she was pretty excited to get to go and actually spend some time with him for a change. And I believe it was one of her aunts that picked her up from her mom's and took her and dropped her off at her dad's.
And that's awesome that she was excited because, I mean, it happens a lot, and dads just kind of disappear, and then they all of a sudden want to be dad this week, and then they don't want to be dad for like 6 months, you know?
My favorite, I can't afford to give you your child support this week because I have to pay blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, so do I.
Yeah, right.
But I don't get to tell somebody I'm not going to pay for take care of my kids still.
Right.
Favorite excuse. His home was actually on McCovery Road in like West Mobile, Alabama. The visit, obviously, like I said, was a weekend visit, so it was only supposed to last for 2 days. Yet 13 years later, there's still no sign of Brittany.
Oh, that's so awful.
So when she didn't return to her mom's home like she was supposed to, her mother then reported her missing. Mm-hmm. Mainly because I felt like she thought maybe the dad was just trying to keep Brittany away from her, like decided, I'm just not going to send her back.
Yeah.
So in her mind, I believe she thought that maybe there was just like a custody violation going on here and not necessarily what it ended up being. Strangely enough, it appears that Hooper left Mobile pretty quickly after Brittany was reported missing by her mom. When Hooper was found at the mental health facility in Arkansas in September of 2012, he was allegedly getting treatment for schizophrenia. There is evidence that Hooper had been in other mental facilities many times in Alabama, suffering with mental health problems long before Brittany had disappeared.
Oh, wow.
So a real ongoing struggle.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, may explain his absence.
Yeah, it's a possibility because, I mean, schizophrenia is no joke.
Right.
But if you're medicated, and that's the thing with schizophrenia, like a lot of people don't like to medicate themselves.
Yeah.
So it goes untreated and then bad things happen.
Yeah, or they're on their meds for a while and then they think, I'm great.
Yeah.
And then they just get off of it because they think they don't need it anymore because nothing's happened. Well, that's because you were on the medicine.
Right.
Yeah, happens a lot.
You're not having hallucinations because of the medicine.
No. It's like, get back on it.
Yeah.
Don't stop taking it.
Right.
That was what was keeping you okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So an arrest warrant was issued for Hooper 6 weeks after Brittany went missing. When law enforcement found Hooper in Arkansas, Brittany was not with him. He was charged with felony custodial interference. Like I said, they just thought maybe that was the deal. He just was keeping her away from her mom. There was also evidence that Hooper had, in fact, traveled a lot throughout the Southeast states after his daughter had gone missing. So he literally had traveled to many different places before ending up in the mental health facility in Arkansas.
Yeah, because that was 6 weeks later, right?
Yeah, he wasn't in a car. He was traveling like by train and bus and stuff like that. So there was a trail that they could follow as to where he was when, and I think Tennessee was his last stop right before hitting Arkansas.
Okay.
Upon his arrest, items that were found in his possession included knives, rope, and his daughter's pink iPod.
Oh, wow.
He insisted he was not involved in the disappearance. He did plead guilty to these charges and was released from jail in like 2016. So he spent a little bit of time in there over the felony custodial interference charge. Now, Hooper also had a record of past arrests for like domestic violence and third-degree assault. But despite all of this, even Hooper's relatives did not believe that Hooper had anything to do with Brittany's disappearance. Law enforcement also searched his house, but really didn't find any evidence of, like, foul play or anything going awry. There was, like, nothing really.
But, I mean, he had her. What did he say happened? Like, she left on her own? So, I left her there? Like... Yeah.
His story changed many, many times.
Of course.
He literally was like, oh, I didn't see her. Mm-hmm. Like, saying, like, she never showed up at his house, to, like, well, she was there, but then she left. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen her since.
Right.
Just like anything he can to try to figure out a way to make it sound like,
yeah,
he has no idea what happened.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah.
As a mother, I don't think I would ever put my child in that position and be like, here, go to your crazy fathers. But also...
She's 14.
And
so she probably felt like if she felt unsafe, she'd tell someone.
Right. So she was like, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. I know where you're at.
Yeah.
Your aunt's coming to get you and all that stuff. So I get that and everything. But, oh.
Yeah, it's tough. So, Brittany was supposed to be going into high school that fall at Murphy. And her mom, Tiana Hogue, told Fox 26 that the day Brittany left to go visit her dad, she was like I said, super excited because she had not seen him in a while. And, she was like hopping around that she like left out of the house and had to come run back in to give her mom a kiss and tell her she loved her before she left. So she was like just that excited that she was just like, woo, but in which, Brittany had a very special relationship with her mom because that's all she had. And so, she would like constantly make sure her mom was taking her meds and stuff like that, so it was like she was caring for her mom even though her mom was caring for her. So it was like really, really close relationship. Hogue also expressed her grief through her tears, saying, "Did he give her to somebody? Did he sell her to somebody? I allowed her to go with someone who I thought was supposed to love and care about her, and she never returned. And there's nothing I do or can do about it except beat myself up."
Yeah, I would definitely beat myself up.
Yeah, so it's like a constant battle with yourself at that point because you're like,
why did I do this? Why did I let him go? Yeah.
Let her go. Why did I do whatever? It's really, really one of those, like, I don't know. It's like I can almost feel it. It's like almost suffocating feeling when something like that occurs and you can't do anything to change it. I wonder if
she, like, I guess maybe she was under the impression that he was on his medication.
I'd have to imagine so, because like she said, she's like, I thought I was sending her, to someone who loved and cared for her. I would imagine she believed she would have been safe. You would hope. I mean, I don't think, just knowing how their relationship was, I don't think that she would have sent her if she thought this could have been even a remote possibility.
Yeah, I don't see that either, but that's heartbreaking.
It is very, very sad. So through cold case investigation, enough evidence was eventually obtained to present the case to a grand jury in Mobile County in February of 2024. The grand jury did return an indictment for murder for Hooper.
On what grounds? Like, is it?
They did not give any details. They say that, like, just that they had evidence, and it was enough evidence to convince a grand jury that, they think that he murdered his daughter. There has never been any body found.
Right.
Even to this day, they've not found her.
And the thing is like, he's denying on one hand, like, oh, I didn't even have her. You had her pink iPod.
Yeah, I didn't even see her.
How did you get that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I used to have an iPod. I know everybody did.
Right.
The iPod Nano, the regular iPod.
Yeah, I was going to say, we had all of the versions.
The Nano that, like, clipped on. Yeah, you had to have them all. Those things were,
could you even walk without it?
Right.
No.
The iconic, like, white cord headphones.
Yeah. I mean, heck, it's so much better than trying to walk or run with a dang Walkman.
Yep. You couldn't play CDs and run.
Skip.
Yeah. Mine was green, though. I had a little green iPod Nano.
I had an orange one. Funny. And here you are now, Android lady.
I know. I'm like all about the Android.
You're like, Apple.
Well, I had an Apple up until
I almost said Ethel. Poor Ethel. I'm sorry, Ethel.
Sorry, Ethel. I had one up until like the 5 Plus, if that tells you anything. And then I was like, I just don't like iPhone. And I switched and I've never gone back. But, it is what it is.
So at the time that this indictment was issued, Hooper was actually in jail in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, for unrelated felony charges. So he had to be extradited back.
Good Lord. And booked into he was just all over the place, huh?
So yeah, he was in jail in a lot of different places.
And mental institutes, and he just skipping and hopping around committing crimes.
Everywhere. So the funny thing is about him being in all these different jails, there's one common thing that occurred in every single place. He filed complaints/suits against all the officers that he dealt with, against Brittany's mom, against Hulu, Netflix, Walmart. There's like
goodness.
A laundry list of people, and it's all in these different places that he's filing all this stuff, and it's all civil rights related.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, so civil rights violations and prison conditions and stuff like that are all noted in all these legal files, and I'm just going, what on earth are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of like my first story with Donald Evans. Like, he had filed all kinds of complaints and they weren't feeding him and he didn't get the right kind of food and they had these conditions, blah, 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 and all that stuff. So yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of the thing to do when you're in there and you're guilty of something crazy.
Yeah, let me go to the library and see,
see what I can file. See how much of the court's time I can waste.
Yeah.
On a bunch of stuff.
And money.
What's so sad is, though, like, if something actually legitimately terrible like that was happening to someone, like, how do you weed through that and find the ones that are real?
Are they really going to take you serious if you do file it? Because so many people file this, and this.
Or just you yourself. The one time that it's true.
They're like, it's another one, whatever.
Yeah, he files these everywhere. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I just think that's a terrible idea. So, in June of 2024, Hooper was in court to make his plea on this indictment. Hooper did plead not guilty. Mobile County District Attorney stated that not having a body will make this case more difficult. However, we felt that after some further investigation and a fresh look at the case, that there was sufficient evidence to make this arrest, and we will move forward with this to a jury trial. So I don't think there's going to be any kind of offer of a plea agreement at this point because it seems kind of whatever. But he also stated that the details probably would not come out until that trial. So they're kind of just keeping all what they've got under wraps until the actual trial. Yeah. Which I guess is good. But a status hearing was set for August 2024. Unfortunately, I can't find anything past that court date, and there's nothing on the status hearing that I could find anywhere. Like, that's why I found all the other stuff he had filed, because I was digging.
Well, maybe it got postponed or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. Who knows? But here we are, May of the following year. So I'm curious to find out what happens, and hopefully someone reports on that as to whether or not.
We definitely want updates on that.
Yeah. So That's a new Google alert.
Yay, Google
Can't really call this one solved because nothing's finished.
Right.
So, it's just...
That's just awful, though, that they never found her.
Yeah, and that's the really sad thing is, like, there is no body. And for me, I'm like, if he did do this, I sincerely hope that he would just allow himself to at least tell somebody where she is. Like,
right.
Give her some respect at that point.
Yeah.
And, let...
Like, do the right thing and just go ahead and say,
let her
okay,
be found so that she can be respectfully buried or whatever their plans were for her. Like, I don't know if she wanted, cremation or whatever, but anything would be better than just flat out missing, dumped somewhere, buried somewhere, like, that he took her. Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, it's just really, really sad. I know there was, like, some theories that maybe she was trafficked. Like, maybe he did give her to somebody, and maybe he was in some schizophrenic issue, and something happened, and she ends up with somebody else. There was apparently some video surveillance of, like, a store. Not real sure which store, but there is some that say that they saw him, Brittany, and some unknown woman on camera.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, that could have happened.
The theories. So it's like, who knows? Everybody's in the dark, like mushrooms.
Ugh, that's awful.
Getting fed the doo-doo right now. We're all just waiting in the dark.
All just waiting in the dark to,
in the dark.
Get plucked up and dusted off, because you don't wash the poo off your mushrooms. You just wipe it off.
Okay. As I turn on the sink.
Right? I'm like, wash my mushroom. I don't care if it's wet.
Right.
It's getting sauteed anyway.
Exactly.
They're like, you're just supposed to wipe it off. Or, back in the day when you found mushrooms in the cow field.
Just eat them. Right there.
Just make Kool-Aid. Boiled them suckers.
Yeah, something. Just disinfect those babies. But, yeah.
That was an interesting case, and I hope that
not
they
super
find
long,
something.
but
I mean, it was a good one, and
hopefully there's some update I can give at some point. I mean, the sheer fact that they were in court last year leaves me hopeful that
they have
there's
something
progress
to go on.
And something's going on. So we'll hopefully get an update on this one at some point. Yeah. But it's like super sad. I guess I rolled into this one off of, the one where the husband did it, and then the one before that where Myra Lewis is missing and nobody understands what happened to her, and her whole entire family just up and skedaddles and doesn't check in or anything. Yeah. I know that the world of the internet is like, they know something.
Yeah.
And so are the police at that point.
And also I'd like to thank all of our Jackson and Madison listeners who they really
shared the mess out of Myra Lewis
case. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That was much appreciated for sure.
And in Richland and all the surrounding areas.
Yeah. I don't think, everybody that's on the What's Happening Jackson page is not necessarily just in Jackson.
Yeah, just in Jackson.
It is definitely metro area. And there are a lot of people who, commented, that they remembered that happening, and that baby still being missing now is, heartbreaking. And it absolutely is. It's so sad to have no answers at all.
So, I mean, even though this one was in Mobile, maybe, it's close enough to Mississippi.
Yeah, it's close.
I think
it's a neighbor.
Mobile is just one of the prettiest little port cities and everything, but I absolutely hate the tunnel. Every time I get to the tunnel, I'm like, I know I can't stop because you have to go underwater and through the tunnel.
It's my favorite. I love the tunnel.
And I'm sitting there going, I find myself holding my breath, and I'm like, why am I holding my breath? And I'm like, hurry up before a big truck comes up.
We've watched way too many terrible movies.
Final Destination.
Where bad things happen in there.
Right. I don't know. I can go over high bridges. Anything. I've been through mountains. I drove around the damn Hoover Dam, and that's like up and down, all that stuff. Tunnels. Do not recommend them.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
We've done some silly stuff and driven over that way just to go to Foley to eat at Lambert's.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's where they throw the rolls?
Home of the throw rolls.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We love it. It's so yummy. Oh, I love fried okra. Mm-hmm. So every time they come around, because that's like a pass around.
Yeah.
So every time they come around, I'm like tapping my table like, yeah, give me some more of that.
Give me some more okra. I'm not an okra fan. But if it was like fried mushrooms or something, maybe.
Yeah, I like those too.
I do too.
My favorites are the littler ones because they're juicy.
Yeah. And fried green beans, those are good too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't eat a lot of fried stuff anime, but they're so good. Occasionally.
Also, I'm hungry.
I know. Me too. I'm like, I'm starving.
That's what we get for recording in the afternoon. Like, surprised there's not grumbling noises in the microphone.
I had to run to the store and buy an Alani because I had a caffeine headache.
Oh. Well, we've made it through.
Right.
Yeah, so keep watching for that merch.
Yes, it's almost time because I got my shirt in. It looks awesome. So
and that's what we were waiting for.
Well, by the time you hear this, hopefully it'll be launched.
Mm-hmm. So we'll, I guess I need to plan to wear my shirt so we can take pictures of each other.
For sure.
In our shirts. So you can see them on a live person.
Right.
I mean, they're on people
they
in
have
the,
like
in
models,
the shop.
Yeah, but they're just plastered on the front. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be cool to post pictures anyway with it. Mm-hmm. So we'll do that and get it all ready for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And our theme music, which everyone enjoys all the time, I'm sure, was created by Patty Salzetta. Make sure you guys are sharing us with your friends. Send them the link to an episode, any episode.
All the episodes.
All the episodes, yeah. Like, hey, did you hear this one yet? Just send it.
No excuses. I sent you all of them.
Right. And we're on every social media platform except X.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say about that.
And Snapchat. We're not on this.
Well, I mean, we're personally on Snapchat. We just haven't made like a business snap.
Yeah, we don't need that. Like you said.
Not really. I mean, we're everywhere else. So it's like, you can message us on Facebook, follow us there, follow us and message us on Instagram, TikTok.
Yes.
All that.
Who's going to be our second emailer?
Right. Where's email number 2 coming from?
Right.
And that is steeped at holdmysweettea.com.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoyed listening today. And Hold My Sweet Tea is a Drunken Bee production.
Bzz.
And we hope you stay safe out there. And just because we're dipping doesn't mean you can't keep sipping. Bye.